Hey everyone, this is the My channel. Ready to listen to a new hot story? Then get comfortable because this one burns slow and deep. A single text message arrived late on a quiet Tuesday night. The room was dark except for the faint glow of the city lights leaking through my blinds. I was sitting on the edge of my bed, half distracted, half exhausted, scrolling through nothing important. When my phone vibrated, I barely reacted. Then I saw the name, Judith, my mother. Something in my chest tightened instantly. She never texted this late unless something was wrong. I unlocked the screen and opened the message without thinking. The property has been sold. We changed the locks on the repair shop. You are locked out now. I want to see you try to make it on your own. Haha. I stared at the screen. For a few seconds, my brain refused to translate the words into meaning. I read it once. Then again. Then a third time, slower, as if maybe I had misunderstood. The property has been sold. The repair shop. The locks have been changed. You are locked out now. That last line sat there like a stain. Haha. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't nervous laughter. It wasn't awkward humor. It was mockery. It was celebration. That haha told me everything. This wasn't written in anger or desperation. This was written with satisfaction, with relief, with the smug confidence of someone who believes the problem has finally been removed. Me. I waited for panic to hit, for my throat to tighten, for tears. None of that came. Instead, something else settled in, something cold, something still. It felt like the moment right before a storm breaks, when the air goes quiet and heavy. A strange calm spread through my body, sharp and clean, like ice water in my veins. They really thought they'd won. They thought they'd erased me with a lock. I set the phone down carefully on the nightstand. My hands weren't shaking. My breathing was steady. I didn't pace. I didn't cry. I didn't scream into a pillow or call a friend. I just sat there, alone in the silence of my apartment. And I smiled. Not because I was happy, because I finally saw everything clearly. This wasn't the end of something. It was the beginning. They believed the garage belonged to them because their names were on the sign and their hands held the keys. They believed physical access meant ownership. They forgot something very important. I wasn't just working there. I was holding the entire business together. I stood up slowly and walked to my desk. My laptop sat there, closed, waiting. I opened it, and the bright screen cut through the darkness of the room. I logged in. First stop, the supplier portal for Detroit's primary auto parts distributor. My login information saved automatically. Emily Carter. The account loaded instantly. Every purchase, every order, every approval history. Guaranteed by my personal credit card. I scrolled through the recent activity and felt a small, almost amused breath leave my nose. There it was. An order placed earlier that day. 12 brand new transmissions. High value. Urgent delivery scheduled for the next morning. My father must have placed it with confidence, probably hours after sending me that text, convinced the shop was finally free of me. I hovered the cursor over the order. For a moment I imagined him tomorrow morning. The doors unlocked, customers waiting, mechanics standing around, no delivery truck arriving. Then I clicked, cancel order. A confirmation box appeared. Are you sure? Yes. The page refreshed, order canceled, next tab, the equipment leasing company. That expensive diagnostic machine they love to brag about, the one my mother mentioned constantly to her friends as proof of how modern and successful. The garage was my name, my credit, my signature. I terminated the lease. Then the tire supplier. A recurring order. 24 tires delivered weekly. Cancelled. Another vendor. Cancelled. Another. Cancelled. I didn't rush. I didn't feel angry. I worked carefully, methodically, the same way I rebuilt engines. One step at a time. No mistakes. By the time I checked the clock, it was 3 minutes past midnight. Only minutes had passed since my mother sent that text. In that short window, I had frozen their entire operation. By sunrise, the repair shop would be a shell. No parts, no equipment, no supplies. They wouldn't be able to buy a single wrench without my approval. I closed the laptop and leaned back in my chair. To anyone else, this might have seemed extreme. But this wasn't revenge. This was balance. To understand why I had this level of control, you need to understand my family. And to understand why I felt absolutely no guilt, You need to understand the last decade of my life. My name is Emily. I'm 29 years old, and I'm a highly skilled mechanic. My family owned a vehicle repair garage in Detroit. It was founded by my grandfather, back when hard work actually meant something. People in the neighborhood liked to call it a family legacy. But for the last 10 years, that legacy rested on my shoulders. My father, Walter, was the face of the business. He loved shaking hands, telling stories, laughing loudly with customers. He was charming, confident, and completely useless when it came to actual work. He couldn't tell a socket wrench from a torque wrench. My mother, Judith, cared about appearances. She loved telling people we own a garage, loved the respect it gave her at social events. The business wasn't income to her. It was identity.br. Then there was my sister.br, Bridget.br, 24 years old, pretty, effortlessly charming. Be golden child. My mother lived her life through Bridget. Every dream, every expectation, every sacrifice was for her. Bridget never worked a single day in the garage. She used to say she was allergic to grease. She wasn't allergic, she was allergic to effort. I was different. I was responsible. That word followed me everywhere. People think it's praise. In my family, it meant obligation. While my sister got a fully paid business degree and money for professional clothes, I was in the garage, sweeping floors at 15.br, changing oil at 16.br, rebuilding engines by 19. By 22, I wasn't just the lead mechanic.br, I was the bookkeeper.br, the inventory manager.br, the supplier contact, the person who stopped the business from collapsing .br. What no one liked to admit was that the garage was failing badly. It was a financial black hole .br, and I was the only one feeding it. Over 5 years, I poured exactly $195,000 of my own money into that shop.dr. I tracked every dollar. It started with a $15,000 notice from the bank. My father's business credit line was about to be canceled. He came to me scared, embarrassed, desperate. I took out a personal loan to save him. 3 years ago, safety inspectors condemned the hydraulic lifts. My father talked about closing the shop. I emptied my savings, $50,000, to buy new lifts and modern diagnostic equipment. Then came payroll, small emergencies, a few thousand here, a few thousand there. Over 2 years, another $40,000 disappeared so my father wouldn't have to admit failure to his employees. People ask why I didn't leave, why I didn't walk away. They don't understand invisible chains. When your value equals your usefulness, you stop being a person. You become a support beam. You're terrified that if you stop holding everything up, it will collapse and somehow be your fault. So you stay, you hope, and one day you get a text message with a ha-ha, and that's when the phone started ringing. The phone kept ringing. I didn't answer it. I let it vibrate on the table while I stood in the kitchen, staring at nothing, the weight of everything finally settling into place. The silence I had lived with for years had changed shape. It wasn't heavy anymore. It was clean. At exactly 7 o'clock in the morning, the calls turned into notifications. Voicemail, text message, another voicemail, then another. I picked up the phone and listened to the first message. It was my father. Walter's voice came through, sharp, loud, already angry. "Emily, what did you do?" he shouted. "All the supply orders are canceled. The shop is completely frozen. You created a massive problem. You need to fix this right now." There was no greeting, no confusion, no concern. Just accusation, as if the only impossible thing in this situation was that I had finally acted. A few seconds later, my phone buzzed again. A text from my sister. "You're totally overreacting. Mom was just upset. You know how she is. Call the suppliers and restore the orders. This is extremely inconvenient for me. Inconvenient. Bar, that was the word she chose. Not hurtful, not unfair, not cruel. Be inconvenient. I imagined her reading my mother's text, shrugging, rolling her eyes, assuming I would do what I always did. Fix it. Smooth things over. Take the hit so her life could continue uninterrupted. My thumb hovered over the screen. I didn't respond. Then came the final blow. My mother went public. I opened her social media page and saw the post already gathering sympathy. It's heartbreaking when children forget who provided for them. We gave them everything we had, and now they are trying to destroy their entire family over a small disagreement. The comments were immediate. Supportive. Outraged on her behalf. People who had no idea who paid the bills. Who rebuilt the engines. Who kept the doors open. I read every message, listen to every voicemail, let every accusation sink in. And in all of it, I noticed something. No one asked why. No one apologized. No one checked see if I was okay. They weren't upset about betraying me. They were furious that I had finally shut off the money. That realization snapped something into place. The anger drained away, replaced by certainty. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I made coffee. Then I sat down and made one phone call. "Paige, it's Emily." There was a pause on the line. Then warmth. "Wow, it's been forever. Is everything okay?" "No," I said. "I need legal help." The words felt heavy and freeing at the same time. Paige was my college roommate. We'd survived finals, bad food, and long nights together. Now she was a partner at one of the top business law firms in Detroit. I told her everything. The years of free labor, the money, the locks, the text, the haha. When I finished listing the numbers, the loans, the equipment, the payroll, there was a long silence. "Emily," she finally said, her voice flat and cold, "what you're describing is textbook unjust enrichment. Promissory estoppel. They are legally exposed." "I want my money back," I said. "Good," she replied, "because we're going to get it." That same morning, she prepared a formal demand letter. Not an email, a courier. 30 days. Option 1, a legally binding repayment schedule for the full $195,000. Option 2, immediate 50% ownership in the land sale proceeds. Ignore it and we sue. This wasn't a family argument anymore. This was law. 2 days later, Paige called again. Are you sitting down?" Something in her tone made my stomach tighten. "I investigated the property sale," she said. "The purchasing LLC is owned by someone named Samuel Thorne." The name hit like ice water. I knew it instantly. My sister's fiancé's father. This wasn't a random sale. This was a deal. They didn't just sell the garage. They sold it to secure my sister's future. My money, my labor, my life, all of it converted into a dowry. I didn't speak. Paige continued. "That's not the worst part." I swallowed. "The $105,000 loan you've been covering," she said. "I subpoenaed the original documents." There was a pause. "Emily, your father forged your signature. My body went cold." "He didn't ask you for help," she said quietly. "He was hiding a felony. If that loan had defaulted, the bank would have come after you. Your apartment, your savings, everything." The room felt like it was spinning. The years suddenly rearranged themselves in my mind. The urgency, the pressure, the fear, the haha. They didn't lock me out because they were angry. They locked me out because they thought I was no longer needed. I wasn't family. I was evidence. And now, I was a threat. I sat there in silence as the last piece of loyalty dissolved into dust. "Paige," I said finally, "what do we do?" Her voice hardened. "We file criminal charges." And that's when everything truly began to burn. The criminal complaint changed everything. It moved faster than I expected. Faster than they were. Prepared for. Once fraud enters the room, silence becomes impossible. Lawyers stop posturing. Smiles disappear. Pretending ends. Paige called me that Monday morning, and for the first time since all of this began, there was a trace of satisfaction in her voice. "You're not going to believe this," she said. I was standing in my kitchen, coffee cooling untouched in my hand. "Try me." "The developer," she said. "Samuel Thorne. He found out about the forgery complaint." I leaned against the counter. "And?" "He wants nothing to do with it," Paige replied. "He's threatening to walk away from the land purchase entirely. He doesn't want his family name anywhere near a criminal investigation." I closed my eyes. The deal they committed fraud for was collapsing. The thing they sacrificed me for was turning to ash. The calls started again, but this time they sounded different. No more shouting, no more commands, just desperation. I didn't answer. I let them sit in it. Tuesday night, Just after 9, someone pounded on my door. Not knocked. Pounded. I walked slowly to the door and checked the peephole. My mother, Judith. She didn't look powerful now. Her hair was disheveled, her makeup smeared, her posture collapsed inward like something had broken inside her. I opened the door. "Emily," she sobbed, grabbing at my arm. "You have to stop this. Thorne is backing out. Bridget's wedding will be cancelled. Her future is ruined. Her future. Always her future. She's your sister," my mother pleaded. "How can you do this to her?" I remembered my sister's text. "This is extremely inconvenient for me." I remembered my mother's message. Haha. "This was never about money," I said quietly. "You know that." She nodded frantically. "We'll pay you back. Everything. Just please fix this. Do this for the family." The same words. The same trap. Hope flickered in her eyes when I nodded. "Okay," I said. She exhaled sharply, relief flooding her face. "I already did," I added. I stepped back into my apartment, picked up a folded piece of paper from the table and placed it in her shaking hands. She unfolded it. "What is this?" she whispered. "That's a copy of the criminal complaint," I said calmly. "I filed it today. Forgery. I sent it to the district attorney. And to Mr. Thorne?" Her face drained of color. The hope died instantly. This can't be undone," she said, her voice hollow. "No," I replied. "It can't." I closed the door. The criminal case ended everything. Samuel Thorne backed out immediately. The engagement collapsed within days. No one wanted to marry into a family facing fraud charges. The civil lawsuit didn't even make it to court. Their lawyers saw the evidence and pushed for settlement. They had no leverage. The terms were simple. The garage land was sold at public auction. After creditors were paid, the remainder was divided. My father received probation. I watched the wire transfer hit my account. $400,000. I opened my old spreadsheet. I opened a $95,000. The cost of my silence. The price of approval I never received. I deleted the file. That night, I slept without weight on my chest. 6 months later, I bought a rundown garage across Detroit. I cleaned it, painted it, equipped it properly. E-Tech Auto opened its doors. It's bright. It's honest. It's mine. This morning, under the hood of a classic Mustang, my apprentice looked at me nervously. "Emily," she asked, "am I ready?" I wiped my hands, placed a clean torque wrench in her palm, and smiled. "You're ready," I said. "Let me show you. I'm free. Not a responsible daughter. Not a backup plan. I am a builder. And this is my legacy."